The following is a presentation of the Black Hollywood Live Network, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. Hollywood redefined. From Los Angeles, California, streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is Black Hollywood Live, the Black Tea Party, featuring weekly discussions on political news and current affairs. Black Hollywood Live, Hollywood redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host of Black Hollywood Live, the Black Tea Party.
We don't have any water.
Yeah.
I got water.
I don't need water.
I know he ain't shit.
I don't need no stinking water.
I do.
Get him, Rock.
What's up, y'all? I'm Anthony Martin. This is Black Hollywood Live, Black Tea Party, where we're going to talk about all the political issues going on in the world today. Check me out at all my social medias at Blackfist Activist. By my side, Shirley, what's good?
What's up, everybody? All of us in the house today. So you guys are going to hear some good stuff, including me. Last week they talked about Republicans without the Republican. So the Republican is in the house. You can follow me at HUSAR, Shirley Hussar, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and of course my personal fan page. Check it out.
Ooh,
Hi.
Just got quiet on your mic. Spotlight.
Hi, what's up? White guy here, Mike. Comedian, recovering Republican. You can catch me on Twitter at Michael Timon or at Michael J. Timon, as spelled MIHKELTEEMANT. I should just change it, right?
No,
Like, God damn it.
And it's Don. I'm happy to be here. Always happy to sit next to Michael and make the white guy uncomfortable.
Make
the
the
Black
white
Tea
man
Party.
uncomfortable.
You're not white. That would make me
You
uncomfortable.
can reach me at Don's Daily Dose on Twitter and Don Nash Facebook and Mr. Don Nash Instagram.
And sitting on the couch, our favorite Stacy.
Lovely.
What's up, you guys? Your host, Stacey. You can check me out on Twitter and Instagram at OneTakeStace. I am super excited for the full panel tonight.
You look like you should have like
We
a
definitely
green
got a
tea
full
over
house.
there.
I really should. I'm
And
missing
like a home and living magazine.
next time.
All right, guys, we got a lot on the plate today. We're going to jump into some voting discussion, but before that, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the Oregon shooting that happened yesterday.
264, guys. 264 mass shootings this year.
Oh my
We're
God,
only 10 behind one a day.
This
Come
is
on.
crazy.
We can do it, America.
Your motivation really
Oh my God, you're kind of sick, man.
But
No, I've just given up. That's what's happened. I've given up. If you guys want your guns, screw it. Let's all shoot each other up.
so
let's go.
So I'm kind of scared to jump into this because Mike is he's a crazy person when we talk about gun control. But
Jesus.
But so let me be a devil's advocate for
Keep
a
it
moment and
coming.
just started saying that all the guns, all 14 guns that he had were purchased legally. What do we say to that, Mike? Since
We need tougher gun laws. We don't need to. We're never going to get rid of.
until today, I was watching CNN that they have a gun law where if you purchase a gun, there's a certain amount of time in the state of California where someone who's an immediate relative can appeal your right to own that gun off of the basis of mental wellness.
How do they know that you have it though?
I don't know how they know, but
You have to
you're
set
allowed
each other
to
up.
appear in front of a court and judge and say like, this is my cousin or this is my brother, and I honestly don't feel that he should be able to have a gun. That's very interesting to me.
That
I
is
think
very
that's big. That's huge
I think
right there.
it's huge, but is it effective? Because just like is it effective because how are they gonna know? Second, like
True, but it's a step in the right direction, and I
Sure.
think family members know people best, and usually they're the ones saying, "Well, yeah, I knew he wasn't right since a little kid."
Right,
but
right.
You're like, "Well, shit, why do you let him have a gun?"
Right.
Well, his cousins gave him guns though.
Yeah.
The guy, the
So-
shooter. I won't say his name. The shooter. His cousin gave him guns, and his mom gave him guns.
Yeah, and I think that was what they were talking about today on the news, is that there were 13 guns that they found on the campus and within his possession at his home, and 6 of them were family members' guns.
But what is this where gun lovers tend to sometimes be gun fanatics?
I don't think
that's a little too much gun for me.
Yeah,
I
you know
don't
what?
know.
I would say that, but I don't disagree. I don't think that's wrong. I think owning guns. I'm not against the fact of owning guns, and I think if you're responsible with them and owning 100 or owning one doesn't make a difference on if you're going to go on a rampage or not.
I mean, I get the right to bear arms. I get you having a gun in your home to protect yourself. But I don't get all these guns flying around all these young people.
There's too many guns.
There's too many guns that's readily accessible to me.
So I don't know. I love Mike's point in terms of like bringing up what other countries are doing to, make sure these things don't happen. But is it possible to have like psychiatric test every time someone purchases a gun?
They do it with,
do you think that's like something that could work?
Well, I think
you like shooting guns, right, Shirley? I do. I'll admit, I like shooting.
Does anyone
You're the only person I would know that would.
Does anyone
shoot
here
it.
own a gun?
No.
I used to.
Okay, I do. Have any of you shot before?
Oh, yeah.
They wouldn't let me.
I shot.
Okay, you shot before,
That's
but you
racist.
don't own a gun. Okay, do you teach your children to shoot guns?
You don't have any kids.
My dad did.
My kids start shooting at 6. We took them to the shooting range. They go hunting.
Shooting range.
I'm
We're hunters. Our family go hunting, deer hunting, venison hunting. They were trained that way. They understand what a gun is. They know that a gun can kill. They understand how to use the gun properly. Their father is very, very strict when it comes to understanding what a gun can do and what it should do. If we look at the Second Amendment and the Constitution, how it is lined and how it's set up, we have the right to bear arms. And what happens when we have these horrible, tragic, unprofound things that happen with these crazy-ass shooters in these communities is unacceptable. But I will say this, that you penalize the good for the evil in this country will not correct evil. If you penalize the good for the evil in this country, you will not get a good answer out of that.
But we're not talking about taking away guns. Having a pistol is not what we're talking about. We're talking about assault rifles, which he had a few. He had military-grade weapons when he was kicked out of boot camp.
Let me ask you this. I'm not justifying or saying what this kid did was right.
Fair enough.
One, if you're not an owner of a gun, I can tell you a gun is a gun that kills. It's a weapon.
Yeah.
Any form of a weapon that kills, if it has 100 rounds or has 1 round. The bottom line is, we talk about the regulations of guns. People have had guns forever. What I think they failed in is not having armed police officers in the school. I think that it's interesting in the black urban communities, they make them go through metal detectors. They have armed police officers. But have you noticed that every time you have these shootings in these schools, these are urban or white, mid, centralized America schools. You know what I mean? These are schools that they wouldn't anticipate this in.
Right.
So
And white people have more of the guns.
It's a different
Right.
conversation, though,
Yeah.
about equipping the security
community.
officers.
How is that a
with
different
gun.
conversation?
The reason I'm saying is because we're talking about the attitude towards the American individual that has the right to bear arms, and how do we manage that right?
Yes.
So that it doesn't
Yes.
become an epidemic the way it's becoming an epidemic. We're doing this, as Obama said, we're doing this every couple of months.
And I'm right in
that's a
line with
problem.
what you're saying. If you're going to penalize the good for the evil, because
That's
you're talking
not-
about managing
but that's not a
But you're not
people.
penalty.
That's
It's
not a penalty. When you
penalty.
manage
It's
a
controlling.
system so that we can,
I believe
we
the
can,
system, as far as the freedom to bear arms, should stay in place. I don't
Why do you
agree
hear penalty? Why do you hear penalty in this?
because you're talking about adjusting the Constitution
Absolutely.
to
Yes.
amend
No,
these
But I
crazy
think
Yeah, it's
but
an amendment.
you have to adjust the laws and policies based on what's going on and what's current. I think so. So if
Okay,
you're, well,
go ahead.
I just feel like there are different ways to. I like the word manage. Control, I understand where Shirley's like, okay, you trying to control my freedom. I understand that, but manage, that sounds doable. If there are things happening and the wrong people are getting guns very often, there needs to be some type of
And
way
I
to manage
agree
that.
and I agree with you, Stacey. I think the key thing, if we talk about manage, then we again going back to the schools, having some type of police there that are armed guns. Look, kids are learning to be shooters. You know why? Because of games, video games.
That's not why.
No, I'm sorry. There's a generation that are more comfortable. They've become desensitized and comfortable with a gun.
I get that.
I disagree completely.
I think that's true.
And the stats
I think
show
that's
that.
much different than when I was a kid.
But I know this conversation about amending the Second Amendment of the Constitution when we talk about gun control. I don't even so much agree that we need to amend it as much as I think that you can have the right within a system that manages so that we can keep control of it.
But
we cannot ignore that there's an epidemic here.
Here's my problem with it is I definitely understand the issue with gun control and how we should possibly amend the Second Amendment. But my issue is that the people that are doing, and feel free to jump in, but I just can't wrap my head around it because I feel like the people that are causing these issues are having these problems with mass killings, not necessarily in this case, but other ones, and gang crime and things like that, those guns are going to be in their possession no matter what you change, what amendment you make, and nothing's going to change.
But how can we say that
Anthony.
when you have it so readily accessible?
I'm gonna tell you right now. Crack cocaine, marijuana.
No, these are different things we're talking about.
But-
Now you're making a false analogy. It's just like someone said, thousands of people are killed by cars. Yeah, cars have a different purpose than a gun.
I'm not saying cocaine
Getting
and
high.
marijuana is killing anybody.
Yeah.
I'm saying they're illegal right now, but people are still receiving them regardless because
whatever
they
you
want to
do.
get
Well, use
them.
weed.
And
That's that's legal, but yet you
Okay,
can get it
Well,
illegal.
sometimes
well,
legal.
that's what I'm saying. And you just think about
Sometimes.
arms. When you're talking about arms, you make them illegal. Yeah, they're going to stop some people from getting them. It's going to make it a little bit more difficult.
But they already have
people,
them.
But the people that are going to do these things, and it's. I'm with Shirley on this. I don't see how it's going to change.
But
No,
so,
because-
so if it's
You're-
not gonna, so if we don't see it changing, we're not gonna try. That's my thing. Like,
That-
we have to try. We
Yeah.
have to try. That would be insane.
Do
to
we
say,
have
like,
rape laws because
Right.
rapists follow the rape law, or do we have rape laws
So that we can
when they
persecute
rape
their asses?
somebody, we can arrest them?
Thank you. Right there.
That's a good point. But then, what do you say to the people when you make these?
That's what I'm saying. Like, well, but that's why my whole thing. And someone brought a judge, actually, an ex-federal judge, made a beautiful argument today where he goes, "Listen, if it's this, think of all the things we go to get a car and be able to drive, all the legal tape, and we all accept this.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't it be and that's something that's not supposed to. People die in car accidents every day. But there's millions of people driving, and those accidents aren't generally 99.99999% of the time, they're not trying to kill someone, right? But we still have all these steps. Why wouldn't we do the same? Why wouldn't you have to go read a pamphlet and pass a gun safety
Okay, I'm not
test?
disagreeing that there needs to be procedures in
Yeah,
how to
that's-
receive a gun.
that's what I'm talking about.
I agree with you on
Yeah.
that. I'm not disagreeing that the procedures that are in place need to be curtailed. Okay?
Fair enough, yeah.
But what happens when something like this happens, the extremists, which I consider the left side, will come and say, oh, all guns need to be guns.
I'm on the
I
left. I don't
understand.
But
think that.
hold on.
Yeah.
But I'm going to agree again, like we're saying here.
Yeah.
There are people who they ain't going to give up their guns.
Well,
I
And they're
understand.
just
but
not-
again,
you're not
that's
gonna-
a different conversation. We're not saying. I don't think.
But
it's
these are
been
the
said
cuckoos
here.
that are killing people. These are not the
but
good
we're not having
people.
a cuckoo conversation.
Well, we
having a
are,
real
'cause we're dealing with a
conversation.
cuckoo
But the
issue.
real conversation is that we're saying that we need to find laws and apply laws that would help us manage.
There is no laws to be found. The laws that are in place, what you need to do is amend the law. If you amend the law, then the discussion should be, how would you amend that law? Because then the question comes up to, you're going to tell me I can't do an automatic rifle versus a one-shooter? Automatic rifle's worse, so I can't have. There's different regulations for different guns.
And that's how it should be. Like pistols, I get rifles for hunting. I get shotguns. I get all those.
Why do you get pistols and shotguns?
Pistols are
mandated.
specific because pistols can't shoot through multiple. Like, this is the difference. Certain assault rifles can go through layers and layers of walls and hit innocent bystanders. Just this morning, right when I woke up, or this afternoon when I woke up, first story: kid gets killed in a drive-by. 5-month-old baby, Chicago. Go figure. And it was an assault rifle. They know from the bullet.
Right.
That's because it went through like 3 walls to get to that kid. So there are reasons. A pistol bullet stops a person, but doesn't necessarily. And by the way, I'll put the shout out for Chris Mintz, who was the Army guy who charged at the guy. He was shot 7 times.
Yes, good guy.
By a pistol. That's a good guy.
That's a hero.
And then
pretty
okay,
amazing.
I'm getting a little off.
When you're defending the good, you want to have that kind of gun.
Yeah.
No, but okay. Here's the
Right?
thing.
If
There was
somebody's
another
intruding in
Army.
your home, you want to have the gun that'll cut
Well,
through
he
a
used
wall.
his body as a charge
You
shield.
don't want
He
the one
used his
that.
body.
That's the problem.
No,
The problem
if
is
somebody's
guns that go
breaking
through
in my
walls.
home,
somebody's breaking-
if somebody's
right.
breaking in my home, I want the gun that'll shoot through concrete. Get it? I don't know. I'm
See,
just
but
saying.
that's okay. But now we have
no,
more.
hold on.
Because the
I
bad
get-
guy got the other gun.
No, I got the point. I get the point.
Thank
My
you.
concern is
Thank you.
there is an epidemic of
Yeah.
these type of killings,
No, but I
and
think
something's got to be done to
I don't
harness
think
them.
anybody's disagreeing
Right.
about that.
I also-
it's just the
Like an
discussion
AR
of how.
And by the
How
way,
do
an
you
AR-15
change
is
that?
not what I'm talking
My
about
thing
when
is
it
that
comes
we're
to assault
all
rifles.
like, maybe because I'm on the couch today, I don't know. But I'm like, I'm
You're
trying
the
to
audience
feel,
for
I'm
that.
seeing it from this side. We all agree
Yeah,
that there's an
definitely.
epidemic. We all agree there needs to be some kind of management. The problem is, I don't even think it's something that we ourselves can come up with because it's very This is like
We need federal.
This is a I don't even think they know. That's why they have it.
But there's a
Evidently
tension
they
here
don't,
because even
because-
with Shirley, Shirley will defend her Second Amendment right, and I get her her defending it.
Sure.
But the question then becomes how much of that Second Amendment right is she or people like her willing to give up because they know that it may help us.
Shirley says
reduce.
none.
Let's look at the Second Amendment.
I think Shirley can speak for Shirley. Let me say this.
Yeah,
too.
Shirley can speak for Shirley.
During the Ronald Reagan era, do you know why California doesn't allow you to do open arm carry? It's because of the Black Panthers.
Yeah.
The Black Panthers walked in the community, their own community, and felt protected because they had the right to bear arms. Ronald Reagan decided, we need to change that law. Now, just because I'm a Republican don't mean I support every Republican on their antics.
Fair enough.
And because of that, we no longer can have the right to bear arms publicly the way we bear as we used to. And to me, that's unconstitutional. Like, they should revert that law, but it's been in place for so long, no one's really fighting it. Look, everything that Stacey is saying is correct. We're all pretty much on the same page. Now, I do have a solution or a notion that I think. I go back to what I said with kids. Kids are so used to video games, and guns have become so comfortable and normal, and it's not normal you would think, but it is. They have simulated guns. They have target guns. We have tag guns where we tag each other. I didn't have all that when I was little.
But that's
So what's the point?
We become desensitized to understand that a gun
We
can
have
kill
become
your ass.
desensitized.
We've become desensitized to like a
But that's
lot,
not because
though.
of
So
video
let me
games.
ask you a question. So would you say implement like some type of class into regular education about
Yes.
gun control?
You should have to.
That's a good
I think
point.
So.
I like that idea.
Why not?
That's good.
I
That's
think
good,
that's
Anthony.
But
Say
I
it
don't want to
again.
go. I don't want to go
running
back.
for president 2010.
Anthony versus Kanye.
I wouldn't want to go back to a time
Stop
when we could
that.
bear arms publicly. I wouldn't want to go back to a time for that. To me, it's just like
Go back to when?
to a time when we could just bear arms publicly.
We have that now in Texas. There's other states that do it.
Yeah, and they shoot a lot of people in
you know,
Texas.
When I see it- when I
they
see
don't
a
have
guy-
any problems,
when I
do
see a
they?
guy
They
on
do.
video
No, they have
footage
lots of problems.
in
They don't get
Texas,
reported.
carrying an automatic
Not as much
rifle
as others.
with a bag of Oreo cookies. I got a problem with that, and there's a kid in the lane next to him. I don't want that.
What's your point?
And to me, it's just
I
like
love
racist. The racist, I want them to go back in the closet. I'm tired of people coming out of the closet with their foolishness. Go back. Go back.
I don't
No,
know
I'm
if
serious.
I agree with you on that. I mean,
I get it.
Missouri has a conceal and carry where you can outright have your
I love
guns
conceal
out.
and carry. You ain't gonna mess with me.
but,
If I conceal and
but
carry,
that's- well,
I'd be peace,
don't
be
let me
still.
do-
There was a
I
concealed
have a
carry
little
at
road
the,
rage.
at the shooting, though.
Be still. Medea believes in
Of course she
open
does.
carry.
Of course she does.
Anybody
I-
like Medea?
I just want to say, going back to the desensitization
Open
of
care.
like what's going on and us being desensitized, I think it's really interesting that you said that, and kind of sad because I think not only are we desensitized to
No, I'm looking at stats.
guns, we're desensitized to notions of rape, we're desensitized to music, we're desensitized to third world countries, we're desensitized to
Good point.
hunger,
Yes.
we're all of those things. I don't think I could talk
I
to my
don't know
parents
if
about.
I don't know if we're desensitized to a lot of things you were saying. It's a part of it. I think some of it it's never fully understood anyways.
And
that's-
that might
By the way-
might be more applicable because if I talk to my parents about some of these situations, they'll have so much more to say than my siblings who are 12, 13. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they just don't even see the world the same way
So-
that they
so
did.
we all
We've
have
gotten desensitized to shootings, not people playing video games. Let's be honest. And they actually have done studies with kids, and they understand the difference between a video game
See, I
and real
disagree
gun.
with you on that. I don't forget what
Well,
I don't know what
science.
studies you
Studies
got.
and what
Where's that
kids?
study at?
What kids?
Where's the
I'm
study
a
at?
grown man, but I got this.
on.
I got
It's
this
all over the
irrelevant. It's irrelevant.
And I
It's not
downloaded-
irrelevant.
You know what? To me,
I
it
got this
is.
new phone
Gun is a
today.
gun. It can kill.
And I
Let guys
downloaded-
speak real
Not a
quick.
video game.
Hold on a second. Watch this. I got this new phone today, right? And
Yeah.
I'm downloading apps because I was about to jump on a plane.
Yeah.
I was like, let me download some games, and I just started downloading what they said was the high trending game. So I get this game and I open up this game, and the game gives me instructions: take the red dot and aim for the head.
Yeah. It's a
And I
shooting game.
reckon it's like a shooting game because I remember back in the day when I would play Galactica and I'm sitting there just shooting things on space, because that was my game, right?
Because
So
your
I'm like,
ass
okay,
is
maybe I can
old.
get something like that on my phone. Well, no. I actually have to shoot, and when I aim it to the head of this human figure falls down on the ground, blood spills all over the floor,
correct.
and this becomes entertainment. And what even bothered me more so was that this app said, your perpetrator is someone who is trying to get over on someone in the middle of the street. They're known in this area, but they're not known in this area, so they're
Grand
just
Theft Auto.
nothing but flesh and blood. So aim for the head and take them out. And I'm saying, really? Now, I'm a grown person, and I was intrigued. I played it because
It's a shooting game.
I played it. No, wait. I played it. I was
bad.
offended from the first instruction when I saw how the thing worked and I saw the blood.
And then you got hooked.
No, I played it because I wanted to see where the hell is this game going? You know,
Yeah,
are
what's
they
the end
really
result?
perpetrating and perpetuating this type of thought process
Right.
that you can
Thought
actually
process.
It's
You know,
a
if you
thought
play
process.
a gun game, you're
Preach.
more likely
No,
to
I mean,
own a gun.
Yeah, I mean, it could be, but maybe you are. But I know I sat there and then I realized I was
I think
too
there's
close.
enough episodes. No, go ahead.
I was just saying, I get real jumpy when we try to compare games and the whole music thing
I
back
don't
when
think
Eminem kept that
thank you.
censorship thing is ridiculous. I think you can't.
We're talking about.
I don't think it's
See,
about censorship.
It's about how you raise your children. I'm gonna tell you something right now. I played all of those bloody games.
Grand Theft Auto?
Grand Theft
Me too.
Auto. I played some terrible ass games. I watched some terrible ass TV as a child. Yeah. I've seen a lot of shit, and I'm not a
love how
murderer.
real you were about
I'm not a killer. I haven't shot 9 people.
Yeah.
I'm not
But
doing
you know what,
any of
Anthony?
that.
Anthony, you got lucky. Anthony,
I
you
know how
got
to
lucky.
shoot.
You got lucky.
Peace
You
be
have
still.
good parents. You have I'm just being real. If we think about all the
Social
people who
support
don't
system.
have, you have a support system that some of these people might not. Not even the shooter. Not even
Good
some of these
point.
stories. We have to. If you say it's solely about how we raise our kids, then that opens up a complete other can of worms of every orphan, everyone without a father, everyone without a mother. I mean,
That's true.
Like
'Cause
you
there's no
have
blue
to
book
think
on how to
about-
do it.
You have
Right.
to think
So
about
then-
that. What if
so-
your parents suck? Like, what if they just genuinely suck?
Okay,
what if you
Stacey,
don't
so
have
what are you
them?
saying?
You're screwed anyway.
Are you saying that we regulate TV and games?
I'm just
and
saying that
games?
we can't leave the notion to it's
We
about
do
how you
regulate.
can't
We
just
have
because
censors.
No,
We
you
have-
can't
we
just
have
leave
ratings.
it.
We should
I'm
go
just
back.
saying that we can't leave it at it's how you raise your kids. I think there's so many more things that
I
factor
agree
into
with
it.
that.
I want to go back to what Anthony said earlier. Anthony said that we need to educate children about guns. How many schools talk about guns? Because
Right.
in these
Ooh,
games,
that's good.
they talk about what a gun is, the different types of guns. My kids were telling me, "Guns, how'd you learn that gun?" I was playing this game.
But
And
listen,
I'm like, oh my God. But
we have
going
to
back,
be responsible because we live in a postmodern society.
okay,
Everything is really
I would agree
image-driven.
we all should be responsible, but people are not, obviously, right?
No,
because
no,
people
no.
are
I'm
dying.
saying that as we have this discussion, we have to be responsible because we live in a postmodern society. Things are image driven. For example, this killer that went on the shooting range on yesterday.
He was studying.
He was studying the other shooters that had been covered in the news.
Yep.
So we recognize that the news has got to be responsible for what they put out there because it now impresses itself on
Right.
the
I
canvas of
understand
the
that, but
mind.
That's so
That's a
dangerous to
lot. Like, how are you
say.
going to tell
Real-
the news?
That's
I
so
know.
Because
I agree
That's a
with
lot.
Stacey.
Like,
Wait,
how-
you can't do that.
Wait, hold
The
on.
news is taking a very interesting
Who's
approach
the
here.
news?
They're choosing-
Don, we are the news.
Well, I know we're the
People
news,
are
but
the
even-
news. No.
For example,
you can't think
Michael
about old
did
school
something
news.
earlier here
the
today.
new news is the
But hold
people
on.
on the street. The people on the street are showing dead people. How do you regulate that?
Michael recognized that he should be responsible. Right, and he did not want to celebrate by.
Michael don't even want to shoot a
Hold on
gun.
second. But Michael didn't want
love
to give the
shooting guns.
name of the perpetrator of the crime in yesterday. He didn't want to do it because he knows that sends a message to somebody out there that could be
Exactly.
watching this broadcast that would then be inspired to say, I could go down in history. Let me just go out and do what they did. Because that's what these other cats have been doing. It's the responsibility of it. Now, can we regulate it? No. But we all have to come together and say, what is our
So
part?
how do we
Can we go back to what
improve-
Anthony said, please?
Go ahead.
Anthony said we need to educate.
I
Anthony
did
said,
say-
How do
Anthony
we
said we
take
need to
that?
educate people.
How do we take education and include it
This
with
is a
mental
school
health?
issue.
What do we
This
do
is a
with
mental.
mental health?
This is a
though?
mental health issue. I agree with you on that. I think mental health is huge in this country. Look at the homeless people downtown Los Angeles and nationally. Look at all the veterans that come back and have mental issues, and they are
Very
gun-bearing
interesting.
people.
Right,
So, but we're
right.
talking about a school issue of abuse, of a use of gun. I believe what Anthony said is correct. Not only do we educate in the school, but I believe we ought to have police officers who have guns
You know, let me
in
say-
schools now.
Should
The
you-
reason why
Now, are you talking
I-
about universities?
I'm talking about all schools of regulation. Just have a police officer come in, and that they know that there's an officer who has the right to bear arms legally. And walk in through the school
Well,
because
I
it
think
needs to
that's
send.
great.
We need a new message to be
They
sent
came
out
to my
there.
school when I was a kid.
I actually
Uncle
didn't know
Rick.
that wasn't a thing. All of my schools that I've been to since elementary school
Yeah, I had a person
police
with a
officers
cop.
I had
there.
him come in as.
Well, you guys are black.
Our
At
university.
CSUN they have them.
We talking about these schools that
We
it
have
seems like
them
these
from
shootings,
black?
but these shootings that are
I was in white school.
These shootings that are taking place are not urban community schools. They're not going
Yeah.
through metal detectors, and these are kind of
Chill.
upper level schools, quote unquote.
But
People
that
who
was
pay a
also
little
a
bit more.
community college. Nobody has metal detectors going into any community.
No, I understand
colleges.
that,
Right.
but if you saw armed police officers walking the campus more often, more regulation of guns, of them walking, Again, we need to talk about
We've had
education. We
armed
need to talk
cop
about
shots,
regular.
so I don't think that's going to necessarily.
It's better than what we've got
anything.
now.
I mean,
that's
that's
what
an
I'm
interesting
saying.
concept, though.
I think it is an interesting concept, and I agree with you that we should be educating our children so that they have a different level of respect for the firearm or the industry, so that they'll be a little bit more responsible for it. But you mentioned something that I think has really become blown out of proportion, that this is a mental health issue.
No, Stacey mentioned the
I
mental
mentioned that
health
because
issue.
I just think it's interesting to add that into the conversation. Like, it's not, again, then we started with, it's about how you raise your kids. Okay, pause. It's about this. Pause. It's about a lot of these things.
Yeah.
I think it's a combination
She's
of
right
all
on
these
the
things.
money.
So, okay, and that goes back to my first point. How do you psychoanalyze somebody before you decide you get a gun? Like, I don't know how that works.
The Army has
but
a
I think-
test.
But I mean, we
I
put
don't
this
know.
label
Let's ask
of
them.
mentally ill on every person that decides to go out and
Wait a
do
minute.
this. And
You're right. No,
I'm
you're
not
right.
of the
You're
school-
right. Not
I'm not
everybody.
trying to call
I'm
everybody
gonna
crazy.
say
I
all of them
agree.
I
It's
agree.
not.
I agree with
That's
that
not it.
100%.
I listen, I could be an angry black man. You see what I'm saying? And have a bad day and could snap. I
Yeah.
won't. Thank God, but I could be.
Right.
There are a whole lot of angry people
Anyone
around here
that
that would
goes out and
snap.
kill, how many people were killed in this again?
9.
Nine.
10,
Anyone
10,
that
10
is
is
bold
10.
enough to go out and kill 9 people and ask each person, are you a Christian? Are you a Christian? And as soon as you profess to be a follower of Jesus Christ
Killed
and
a
you
Muslim
kill
too.
them, that is a mental issue. Period.
Okay.
It's gotta be
I would
something.
agree
It's
with you
gotta
that it's a
be-
mental issue, but it doesn't have to be a clinically mental issue.
Yeah, I
No,
think
not
it's-
necessarily. It could
She
just
didn't
be
say
hatred.
clinically, she just said mental
I just said
issue.
Listen,
mental.
but hatred is not a mental condition, and we keep slapping that label
We
on
didn't say
everybody,
hatred
and we're
either.
overlooking
Ooh,
the
you
people who
going
are really
another world.
mentally
But I
We're
understand.
using mental issue
Right.
with white people. I'll be the white guy who says it. We say
No.
mental issue with white people. James
I see what
Holmes
you're
has
saying.
Yeah, I
a
disagree
mental
with that.
issue. George Zimmerman has a mental issue. This guy has a mental issue.
George
We've already said this
Zimmerman
1,000
ain't
times.
white.
The kid from Santa Barbara has a mental issue. How come every time it's that, and then when it's freaking Michael Brown, oh well, he had a criminal the one the cop didn't even know about? Okay, shut up. That's what's going on here as part of it.
There's always been a rhetoric that's been used for certain things. I mean, we talked about it. There was one really sad but great conversation we ended up having. I don't
I'm
know.
gonna give you this last word, and then we're gonna.
Okay,
go
well,
next.
we just had a couple conversations, but you know the way the media will perpetuate different words. You know, they're used like angry, crazy, criminal, blah blah, blah versus mental, trouble, that kind of thing. I mean, we see those different rhetorics, but I don't know. I don't know if we can solve an issue like this in one night. So, Anthony, back to you.
All right, so it's a good topic. So since we're talking about gun control, we were also going to talk about the voting. Voting's coming up as far as like elections. You think about the demographics that the presidential candidates
Go
are
Trump.
looking at. So our
Still,
next
really?
segment for today is the 2 minority votes that probably I think one of the analysts at CNN put the black vote as the win of the campaign. If you grab it, you're winning this campaign. Is basically what they're saying.
Is that
But
not
it's
irritating?
The what?
What
think
analyst
about
are you
it.
talking about? Because I
can't
didn't hear
remember.
that one.
I can't remember.
I will tell you that the,
Oh, no,
the
you're
women's
right.
vote,
Yeah, I
but
know
the
what you mean.
women's vote is very strong.
No, the women's
Yeah.
vote is very strong, but I
Right.
think the reason
And the independents.
the reason they're talking the black vote, I think, is important in this race is because they are somewhat of a what do you call it? They're lost in this campaign. They're actually, I mean, Hillary has the majority of the African American, I guess, vote right
Makes
now.
no
At
sense.
this
I would
80%
disagree
or
with that
something.
as well.
Well, I
No,
mean,
there
it was
was
on
like
a
some
poll.
studies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
it
poll
was
in
like-
September.
No, it's
Okay,
true.
well,
It just doesn't make
look,
sense.
She's like 78%
But
of
my
it.
question
Shirley
is,
Abrams.
Yeah,
is
she's up
what
Shirley
do these 2 demographics? What do you think it will take for a candidate to pull them in?
I think
Because if
I
they
think
give
that when
them
we
the
talk
good
about
money-
black, we're talking about black issues. I don't know about the black vote. We're only a percentage of the minority of the majority.
Sure.
So I wouldn't say the black people. I would say the black issues, Black Lives Matters, the things that are happening in the community, the civil war that's starting to erupt. If they don't address that issue, it's definitely something put in their face, and they're having to address it. I think the independents. I think the women vote, or those are your swing voters, and those are the people they're going to be catering to. I don't think they'll be catering to black people. I don't think
not.
any of those candidates are going to cater to black people.
Sanders.
And Sanders is manipulating black people. He's a manipulative. I mean, people act like he's so
He's
great.
been saying the same thing since he's before politics in 1964.
When we go to Sanders,
This is
and we
the
talk about
longest con
socialism,
of all time. if that's the
Socialism is
case.
not the way we need to go in this country. This country is not founded on socialism. We're a capitalist country, and I want African American
change.
people to be wealthy. I want them to own their own business. I want them to grow their own business. I don't think they need to be
Why
government
can't you under
dependent.
socialism? Wait,
because I don't
wait.
support on government.
Because
support on
socialism
that.
in Sweden, Finland, when that
We're not
happened in Sweden,
Yeah,
Finland,
well, black
Germany,
people don't have the
France,
same rights in Sweden.
business
Finland.
ownership went
This
up
is the
across
black
the
show.
board.
Mike,
But like I was saying,
Mike, we're getting off topic on
socialism doesn't work in this country, and it doesn't work for black people. Do your homework.
Well, I was reading this article from Roland Martin. He's on a show on News One.
That guy.
Very interesting conversation. He was basically
guy.
saying that the reason, and the only reason I'm talking about Republicans is because he was talking about how he was trying to get a Republican on his show and nobody would come on. But basically he was saying, in reference to Republicans, the reason why they don't have that black vote is because more Republicans want to talk to them than to talk with them and let them talk.
And I totally
To them.
disagree with that. I think Ben Carson's been out there. He's talked to NAN, which is an organization.
Yeah, Ben Carson, really. Don't wait him.
He said presidential candidate. I'm not talking about if he wins or
Please, the
loses.
Earth was
He is
created
a
in
candidate.
7
He is a
days.
candidate.
5,000
Ben
years
Carson
old.
has more of the ear or the listening of the Christian community than he does of the African American.
But he has an ear, right?
Well, I don't know. I think he speaks.
Is he African American?
When you're talking
He
about
has an ear
Christians,
in-
you're talking about a lot of African Americans.
But,
Yes,
but
you
there's a
are.
lot of other.
Yes,
There's
you
a
are.
lot of.
Yes and no.
Yes, you are.
Yes and no, because they're not listening to that degree.
Okay. But he just
Ben
mentioned that Roland Martin, since he couldn't get any black candidates on there. I love when they say that because I've talked and reached out to them and say, hey, there are candidates. I've worked on several campaigns. I've worked on presidential campaigns.
But I'm with Anthony. They
I think I
oftentimes
get-
talk
They
to
don't-
themselves.
I think of the points where they bring up like Black Lives Matter, or they'll bring up shootings and they'll have a statement that they make, and they don't respond to any of the questions asked after that.
You know,
like I've seen a lot of the candidates' campaigns that they went to other states. I've watched videos of them, and I've heard people ask questions
Okay, so
about the black
I was gone last
community,
week. I was gone last
nobody
week, and I
came up.
attended the GOP debate. I was there. I was physically there at the Ronald Reagan Library. I spoke to Ben Carson. I spoke to Scott Walker, and I did address them on that issue, and I did find that to be a serious issue and a serious matter. But again,
Mike, this
when
is-
you
and
when
this
you
is-
run,
this is my-
It's a very serious
It's a-
issue. and
right.
we need
Okay,
They sounded
okay.
like Trump. It's a serious issue. It's bad. It's
okay,
real bad.
so
We need
my
to do
question
something about
is,
it.
what agenda has Hillary Clinton put on the platform? Because
not
I'm going to
saying-
say at least Bernie Sanders
why you
has
jump to
addressed
Hillary
it.
Clinton?
No,
Thank you.
no,
But
No,
listen,
because
but
we're talking about
this is
Democrat
my
versus
thing.
Republican. And we're talking about presidential candidates.
Go ahead, sir.
Because she ain't done
This
nothing
is-
either.
This is
I
my
agree.
thing that kind of freaks me out. Like the way you started that, to get the black vote, you win. That's a conversation that I have like in my house with my black friends and my black family. Like that's not something I wish CNN ever. Like it's awkward to know that like they know that too. Like once I get the black people, I'm good. Like that's so weird to me, and it's very
Why?
uncomfortable.
That's politics.
See, I don't
I'm not
agree with
saying
that.
I'm saying it's weird to me. It's a little too intense
understand.
because then I don't believe your narrative in terms of this is a serious issue. It sounds very intentional. It sounds like propaganda. It sounds like you need me to win. That's crap. Like that makes me look at all the like. It would be cool if all the like. That's
You
why.
need them to
That's
win.
it.
But
I
you
just
know
no,
what's
I just need you
interesting,
to be
though?
like.
You know-
That's why I look at
you
Hillary
know
a little
what's-
different because it's not like black people, white people. It's just people. Like that, I feel like she gives me a little
Sure.
bit more people than everybody else. You have to be real on that because some people have been very like, and the black vote and the white vote and the Mexican vote. I'm like, what the.
That's just
Okay,
being
Stacey-
We're
honest.
just
Yeah,
we're
that-
still
I-
separate. It's weird for me. That's all
Why
I'm
are we
saying.
Understand
talking
what
about
you do,
no
but it's
Republican,
still
including
reality of
Cruz and
where we
Rubio,
are as
go
a
to
You're
the
country.
right. You're right.
It's
And
where
it's
we
just
are as a
awkward.
country
Like I
today.
just wish.
And what was going on.
Like, I don't walk around like, oh, I'm
but
a
it's
black
not
woman.
real.
I'm a woman. I'm black. I don't walk
the
around
only
like
problem
that.
I have with your generation, and no offense to you,
That's all
is I
good.
think you guys are so green to know the evil that are in this world and how these
We
people,
just don't
how
look
these
at it the
same,
same.
how
We
these
weren't
same,
exposed
no,
to it.
These same white people that hung your uncle and your great uncle walk the street right now.
Are you
Those
kidding
same,
me?
Some of these
Are
same
you
people still
kidding
live in
me?
there. We still have. There's
Are
an
you-
evil.
are you
No, I'm
gonna
not kidding
school
you.
this generation
I'm
by
just-
going back to those
No, I'm
complaints
just
of
saying that there's evil in this
1964?
world on both sides, and to deny that evil exists
This
is a failure
this
to
is part of our
ourselves.
problem as a
I want
people.
to finish my thought. Can I do that first,
I'm
please?
gonna
Thank
let you
you very
finish it,
much.
but then I'm gonna let you
When
listen.
no, I'm
Go
gonna let
ahead.
you listen.
Go ahead.
Okay, when we
Okay.
talk about black culture and black people, I think Stacey is right on the money because there's a generation like her who just say, I don't want to see all this. I wish we all could just get along.
What's so bad about that, folks?
I agree. I wish that was true, but that ain't true. Because if that was true, why are black people being taken out by police officers? Why are black people being denied businesses and credit? Why are black people already still having a differences as a black and white issue? Why are we even talking about it if it's not an issue?
Now,
so you can say whatever you want to say, but if you don't do your homework and remember your roots, what good are you here?
I don't believe that one has to remember their roots in such a way that they are identified today based upon their past. I believe that what we have done is cultivated a demographic of our community that is still living with that kind of rage, that they only see themselves as being inferior. They only see themselves as standing in the face of an oppressor. They don't see themselves as breaking through. They don't see themselves as being a bridge builder. So today, we're having the same arguments and conversations we had back in 1969. It is time to move forward. We have a man of color that is in the presidential office. And we have to be responsible for those conversations.
But see how she thinks? She said that's not. She and understand where she's coming from. Listen to what she's saying. Listen to what she's saying.
What's so wrong about what I'm saying? Like, oh, I want us to be positive.
Because
and work together. I'm not saying. I understand that it's not reality. That's what I want. I'm very clear about the fact that
we all want that. No, Dr. King wanted that 40 years ago, and 40 years later, this is where we're at.
I feel what you're saying, Stacey. Like that definitely is a want. I think from everybody that's in. With the color, but.
Yeah, it isn't, obviously.
It is, but listen to
Harriet
this. So I hear
wanted
you,
that.
but is it? It really isn't. Listen to this commentary.
I mean,
it's not a want. It is remember who was hanging from a tree. Remember what your great-grandmother and great-grandfather went through.
Now,
remember that, and then believe that it's not equality out here. You are not
I didn't say it was not equality out there.
So this is what I take. This is what I take from Shirley. This is what I take from Shirley.
meant.
This is what I take from Stacey. This is what I take from you. Like I definitely think somewhat like Shirley. I think you have to remember you have to remember the history. You can forgive, but you can't forget.
That's right.
Because without that mindset, you'll never be able to
Someone
move forward.
suffered so that you can live.
If you're just like, you know what, let's everything be okay and let's just forget it, they will be okay. It can't work like that.
I'm not saying you forget it. I'm not saying it like
one of the reasons why we cannot transform as a people collectively is because we have not come to a place of seeing ourselves differently than our oppressors made us see ourselves.
No, I don't see myself differently. I just see I always think I'm always one step ahead of everybody. So if I mean, you just like first impressions. You think of someone, I don't know how to put it. I'm very confused on this. It's just, I couldn't tell you, I couldn't be honest and say, you know what, if everything was today and we were going to change everything now and everybody would be on board, I couldn't say I would be completely believable. Like I wouldn't believe that. I would be on
because I believe in Jesus. I think it would be fine. Like I don't know. I understand.
All things become new.
That's
right?
just I just feel like it's very possible, and I honestly feel like the day that you look to your right and you look to your left and you're like, oh my God, you're my brother. I think God's gonna be like, and scene. Thank you for playing the world. That was the lesson. Like that's what I think.
But going back to talk about the voters, we were talking about voting, right?
We were talking about voting.
Okay, so if we talk about the black voter in the Republican Party, I don't think the Republicans care about the black vote.
Or the Latino. They don't. They all said they're not going to go to Latino. They don't. Every single one of them. It was reported by CNN, Huffington Post, Fox News. Every GOP 2016 candidate turns down invitation from Latino conference, including Rubio and Ted Cruz. How do you reach out to them when you're not even willing to go and talk?
So do you think?
Bernie Sanders went to a diehard fundamentalist Christian school
Sanders is a nice guy. He ain't gonna win.
Hashtag Bernie Sanders.
Hashtag
I'm just saying.
Now, let me say
how are you
something.
supposed to get new voters?
Let me say
Don't
something.
help black people at all.
I definitely
Keep you broke,
believe
enslaved to the government.
I definitely believe that the Republican Party doesn't necessarily acknowledge the black people.
Even though they know they need them to win?
But the only reason is because
they've already calculated that.
No, the only reason I think that's the case is because they feel that they're not going to get them anyways. I'm not going to worry about it. Now with the Latino vote, they're on the other fence. They can be Democrat, they can be Republican, and they're trying to grab them a little bit more because they know they can scoop up more Latinos.
Which is interesting that they declined to show up.
It's getting harder with the Pope.
But you don't think black people, they're not some black Republicans, there's black Republicans.
Hello, I'm a black Republican.
There are black Republicans, but I would just say as far as when you're thinking of the majority, like
Ben Carson's a black Republican.
They're not going to grab that demographic, so they're thinking,
But this is
not
what
gonna waste
this
my
is
time.
what. But this is
And
what.
then,
I was a
and then the
Republican.
Democratic Party is thinking, we already
got him. And
so
that's
we're not gonna
and
pass
that's
it.
what I'm
disrespect
saying.
to the black community
that's a
right there.
disrespect on both levels. Like,
totally.
He's the
that.
only one
So-
talking about the black community.
So Stephon Smith.
Come on, Don.
No.
Tell me. Say his name.
Old Uncle Benny need to get
There
somewhere
we
and
go.
sit all
Feel
the
the
way
burn.
down. All the way down.
Bernie.
Uncle Benny.
Who's Benny?
Bernie.
Uncle Bernie. Sit down.
Okay, waste of time.
So Stephon Smith, an ESPN analyst, basically said he wanted all black people for this campaign to run Republican. And the reason he
Yes.
said that, not because he wanted Republican, but he wanted to open the eyes of the candidates to see that they're not on one side of the fence, because what he was saying is that this sort of disenfranchises the African American community by selecting one and sticking there. That way, just like I was saying, the Democrats think they already got you, they're not saying nothing. The Republicans don't think they're going to get you, so they're not saying nothing. Therefore, you have nobody talking to you.
Can I just say this on Republican
but I
and
don't
black
think that's
issues?
the
When we
case.
think about independents, the independent libertarian voters are not. More younger generation people are not Republican or Democrat.
Right.
They're more independent, and I think
They're
that
confused.
well, whatever the case may
what
be,
the
and
hell
they're
they are.
confused.
Not
Not because
confused,
they're-
I'm open. I just
okay,
feel like-
or they're open.
Okay.
But they're not
Okay.
saying I'm one or the other. They want to have an option. There's an
Yeah.
optional issue. But what will be on the campaign trail, and hear it from me, is going to be Black Lives Matter and issues regarding black people.
Well, I
and
can't
that
wait.
issues,
And I can't wait.
if that candidate addressed the issues of the heart of the black community, then they will get that vote.
He's going to grab it.
Wait a
You're
minute, hold a
definitely
second.
right.
But again,
You think they'll both do it?
But you guys
I'm
are
an
holding to
advocate
Hillary
for-
Clinton.
I'm going to give
advocate
Don the
for
last
Clinton.
word, and then we're going to wrap up.
I'm an
Go ahead.
advocate for Hillary Clinton simply because I believe that Hillary speaks to the black community, but I believe Hillary speaks an empowering word to the black community, which is not necessarily the conversation that we collectively as a people want to have. I take it back to what you said, Black Lives Matter, when Hillary took that interview with a couple of those leaders afterwards, and they were addressing these issues, much like what we talked about today.
Right.
And Hillary said, listen, if you really want to change hearts, you'll change a few, but we'll be back here having this conversation again. What I'm going to encourage you to do is go out and vie for changing laws so we can hold people accountable for the injustice.
I agree that
That's not
Trump
the
talked about that as well.
That's not the conversation.
Trump talked about holding accountable.
Trump took the
through
baton.
organization.
Trump took the baton after
No,
Hillary
well, that's
passed it
just
to him.
one-on-one. That's just
I get it.
that's political
No,
one-on-one
no,
issues
because
that
not
you
many
share.
people will speak to the black
Black
community
Lives
to
Matter
empower them.
did not do one-on-one politics.
Did not do
We're
one-on-one
gonna finish this
politics.
after.
We are
I'm
going to
gonna
finish
pick your
this.
afro after this.
Check us out next week. We got a lot of things going on. Million Man March is October 13th. October 10th. Presidential
Justice or
Base is
else.
October 13th. We're going to be back next Friday. Check us out. I'm Anthony Martin.
10-10.
Black Fist Activist. Check
Stay
me
in
out
the
on
house.
social medias. We'll see you. Black Hollywood Live, Black Tea Party.
West Coast people,
See ya.
thank you for watching.
From executives Kevin Undergaro, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us. info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I am the official voice of Black Hollywood Live, Scipio. Instagram me at KingXOBay. Thanks for tuning in. The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.